Hello, you dear one. If you've ever written a message, then rewrote it 5 times. If you've ever added paragraphs just to make sure people don't misunderstand you. If you've ever felt your chest tighten because you were afraid someone might think you're bad, dramatic, or too sensitive, this deep talk is for you. Because there's a quiet habit many gentle people carry, the need to explain yourself, to explain your tone, to explain your intentions, to explain your feelings, to explain why you reacted, to explain why you need what you need, and it seems harmless. It even looks polite, but over time it becomes exhausting because it often isn't communication, it's self-defense. It's a nervous system trying to prevent rejection. So today, we're talking about why you feel compelled to over-explain, how it connects to anxiety and people-pleasing, and how to communicate with the more peace without shrinking yourself. Over-explaining is usually a trauma-informed habit. Many people think they over-explain because they're just wordy. But for a lot of people, it's deeper than that. You over-explain when you learned that being misunderstood was dangerous. Maybe when you were young, your feelings were dismissed. Maybe you were punished for having needs. Maybe your intentions were assumed to be wrong. Maybe you were constantly blamed. Maybe you lived with someone who twisted your words. So you learned, if I explain enough, I'll be safe. If I say it perfectly, they won't leave. If I cover every angle, they can't accuse me. Over-explaining becomes armor, not because you're weak, but because you learned that clarity was the only way to survive emotional chaos. The hidden belief, if I'm not understood, I'm not safe. Here's what many people don't realize. Sometimes you're not actually trying to be understood. You're trying to be approved. Because when you fear rejection, misunderstanding feels like a threat. You think, if they misunderstand me, they'll think I'm bad. If they think I'm bad, they'll withdraw. If they withdraw, I'll be abandoned. So you don't just want clarity, you want certainty. You want to control how you're perceived. But dear one, you cannot control how people perceive you. You can only speak with integrity. And that's where peace begins. The cost. You abandon yourself in the attempt to be understood. Over-explaining often looks like this. You apologize before anyone accuses you. You add, I don't know, and maybe, to soften your truth. You shrink your boundary so it sounds less harsh. You write a whole essay just to ask for basic respect. You keep explaining to someone who's committed to misunderstanding you, and the cost is heavy. You feel drained. You feel anxious. You feel like you're always on trial, because deep down, you're living like your emotions need permission, like your boundaries need a courtroom, but they don't. A truth that will set you free. People who want to understand you won't need a novel. Let this land gently. If someone genuinely cares, they will not require you to suffer for clarity. They will ask questions with kindness. They will meet you halfway. They will assume good intent. But if someone is using misunderstanding as a weapon, if they twist your words, shift blame, or demand you prove your innocence, no amount of explaining will fix it, because the problem isn't your communication. The problem is their agenda, and emotional maturity is knowing when to stop offering yourself as evidence. The difference between explanation and over-explanation. Explanation is healthy. It's a bridge. Over-explanation is anxiety. It's an attempt to control. Here's a simple check. If you're explaining to share information, it's communication. If you're explaining to prevent someone from leaving, it's fear, and fear deserves compassion, not judgment. But it doesn't deserve the steering wheel. How to practice clean communication. Let's make it practical. 1. Say the sentence, stop. One clear sentence is enough. I don't feel comfortable with that. I need some space tonight. That didn't feel good to me. I'm not available for that. You don't have to add 10 reasons. 2. Resist the urge to prove. Your boundary does not need a dissertation. 3. Let people react. This is hard, dear one, but people are allowed to feel what they feel. Their discomfort is not automatically your fault. 4. Use the record technique. Repeat your boundary calmly. I understand, and my answer is still no. I hear you, and I still need space. No extra justification. 5. Choose your audience. Not everyone deserves your full explanation. Some people deserve a short sentence. A soft practice. I don't need to be perfectly understood to be valid. When you feel the urge to over-explain, pause and whisper. I don't need to be perfectly understood to be valid. Then ask, am I speaking to connect or to defend? And if it's to defend, come back to yourself. Breathe. Let the need for approval soften, because peace is not found in perfect perception. Peace is found in self-respect. Healing, letting your truth be simple. Some of you are tired because you've been doing emotional labor for years. Explaining your feelings, explaining your boundaries, explaining your pain. But your truth can be simple. You can be kind and still be direct. You can be gentle and still say no. You can be loving and still stop talking when the conversation becomes a courtroom. Ending. You don't have to earn the right to be understood. Dear one, you do not have to write essays to deserve respect. You do not have to prove you're good. You do not have to explain your humanity. You can speak simply. You can stand by your truth. You can let others misunderstand you and still remain whole. Because the people who are meant for you will not require you to disappear in order to be understood. So tonight, take a breath and try this. Say the sentence you mean, then stop. Let that be enough. Take your time, my dear one. You are allowed to be clear without defending your existence.